Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming to the last CA of the day. My name is Charles Wu. I'm a first-year student here at MIT Sloan. And today we have the great pleasure of having Russell Scabetti, Vice President in Product Strategy at Core, to speak to us about the role of CRM in a team's ecosystem. We're running a little bit late, so I'm just going to turn it straight over to you, Russell.
Thank you. Thank you. I know it's the last CA talk of the day, so I'll try to keep it fun, and we'll leave time for questions here at the end. So like I said, my name is Russell Scabetti, VP of Product Strategy at Core. Been with Core for about 2 years, but before that, it's about time on the industry, working with the New York Jets for several years, Philadelphia Flyers before that. So I've been very involved in a lot of CRM and data-related initiatives over that time. And so today, I was trying to figure out what the topic really is going to be. How are we going to talk about CRM in this type of session? I thought about CRM's role and it plays in the organization, and we'll go through some examples. So cover some philosophy first, and then different ways you're going to utilize CRM from everything from actually consuming external data, for how data is created inside CRM itself as a data source, and then data presentation and action, how you can tie it all together, tie your BI back to your CRM. So first off, we're at the Sloan Sports Analytics Conference. So data, big data is very sexy. It's the buzzword. There's a million other buzzwords that are going around. There's data visualization, there's automation, there's wearable. There's all these amazingly cool technologies and data sources. And there's this little thing where you think of it as a fear of missing out or needing to have the latest and greatest toys. Somewhere along the way, CRM became not nearly as sexy as it was a couple years ago. So this actually came out, it was about to come out, this is a little bit of a preview from Turnkey's annual study. How does your organization perceive CRM as part of everyday business strategy and practice? And everything was looking good, and now we've got a 9% drop-off for some reason from 2014 to 2015 in how things like CRM and database are being perceived as highly valuable in an organization, which surprised me a little bit because we deal with lots of people, I see lots of people using CRM, and people are still all over the map when it comes to CRM. And even within an organization, there's different levels of sophistication in how people are using CRM. So everyone seems to be really quick to jump to what the latest toy is, but CRM is still such a fundamental aspect of helping them run their business. CRM is actionable. CRM is where your staff are going to live every day. Anytime a customer calls in and talks to someone that represents your team and your organization, they're living in CRM and trying to create that one-to-one experience. So this is rubber hits the road. This is where you're going to be able to take data or insights from other systems, but put them into action and put them in the hands of your staff. And the other thing is, CRM still matters a ton when you think of just industry as a technology as a whole. So I went to Google Trends. I was like, this is going to help show us what people care about, right? So we got some colored lines here. The red one all the way at the bottom is database marketing. So database marketing is even way less sexy than CRM now. Business intelligence in yellow, warehouses in green. We all love our warehouses. We do too. And then big data. Big data is getting a little cooler. But at the top, that's CRM. Like CRM is still so key. So my whole fundamental thing when I think about CRM in your ecosystem is not to overlook it. Like, it's still such a key strategic component. So, why is that? What can CRM do for you? There's all different things. Really on this slide, the only thing I want to kind of point out are really like these last 2 bullet points here. Companies boost profits 85% by increasing annual customer retention by only 5%. There's a huge cost of customer acquisition that goes away when you retain your customers. We all know this. And then when a customer feels things are customized, they're 35% more likely to purchase a ticket. And the things I want to show you, customer in red. Every single one of those bullet points is a customer-centric data point. And there's no more customer-centric system than it comes to your CRM. So what's our philosophy? CRM kind of gets pigeonholed as, well, that's my accounts, my contacts, my opportunities. What we're trying to do, and what I believe in, is that CRM is really anything that ties back into managing the relationship with the customer. So we try to go beyond what a traditional CRM does. We encourage others to do the same. So some of the examples I'm going to talk about, they're going to show stuff that we've built at Core, but some of the examples have nothing to do with us. And even the things that show a Core screen, you can go back and do this in any system. So it's really, again, a fundamental idea of what CRM can do as a benefit for you. To me, CRM is your most cross-departmental system. It really can break down silos because of the fact that your staff lives in it so much. Like I said, it's a data creator and a data consumer, and it really drives action. So here's everyone's seen different versions of these types of diagrams over the years. What are all our different data sources? We got everything from ticket sales and resale and sponsorship, rewards, demographics, surveys, and we got to get all this data into our data warehouse. And that's great, and we love that, and a lot of people can afford a data warehouse. Some people can't afford a data warehouse, and so maybe you have to keep things separate. But regardless, even if you have a data warehouse, this data needs to be visible in CRM in some form. It doesn't mean you need to copy all the data into CRM. We get that. CRM is not a landing place for everything. That's not really what it's designed for. But you still want to have it as a way to consume data generated from all these other systems, so that way you don't have to bounce back and forth between 3 different systems in order to answer a customer's question. Seems pretty straightforward. So let's take a look. What does a view of a fan look like? So here in my example, I've got a fake customer here. All of my numbers and everything have been either hidden or obscured, so none of this is a real data point. But there's tons of things we're learning about this customer, even though a lot of this data doesn't have to originate in CRM. We've got our ticketing history. We've got appended attribute data. We've got some social URLs. It's maybe a real-time fence sitter score. We've got, of course, our CRM activity history, all of our conversations. This is all bringing that together, whether it's a view into another system or actually copied into CRM. What about purchase data? We have an insight into things that they're purchasing, games that they're attending, without having to bounce back and forth into different ticketing systems. And then, what do we have here? So this is, I have the screen right in front of me, I gotta remember that. So not only that, what about things that are you posting tickets for resale? Are you a resale buyer? What about your surveys? Can we attach your survey data back to your customer in order to put some of those insights in front of your staff? And none of this data has to live in CRM, but you want to give that insight. So this is just a handful of ways. This could be from your loyalty system. This could be from your point of sale system. So just try to, if there's a lesson here, think about how are we letting our staff take action on the data we have in all these disparate systems. Now I want to kind of move on to the next point here, which is about CRM as a data collection utility. So let's do a little bit of math. We're at the MI Slow Analytics Conference. If there's not math in the presentation, they don't invite you back next year. So I've now hit my quota. I have a math problem. 20 frontline staff. Let's just pick a fake team. They got 20 staff members. And some teams have way more than 20 staff members. Maybe 50 calls a day, 5 days a week, 50 work weeks a year. That's 250,000 data collection opportunities and things that are going to help you bring information into your system. That's powerful. And if you think about it, it's not just that I talked to you on the phone. That's not just one data point. An average conversation, especially if you build good structure and good processes around what those conversations are supposed to entail, everything can generate from 1 to 10 different data points. So let's just pick 5 as an average. 5 data points, 250,000 calls. That's 1.25 million data points actually collected through your CRM. Now, that might not be big data in the real big data sense, but it's pretty valuable data. So I want to go through some examples on what we think you should be collecting and maybe how that data can be used in the system. So we've got activity data. Let's help measure productivity. How are the touch points with our customers? What are the high-value interactions that we're capturing? Our pipeline. Let's stop thinking about things retroactively, looking at past history. Let's start forecasting and measuring future performance. The reasons why people are buying. The reasons why people aren't buying. If you have the chance to go to Chris Zeppenfeld's presentation on lead scoring, he did one of the great examples he used was how much they can analyze people's past objections to purchase and use that to forecast future conversion rates. Depending on the reason people were saying they didn't want to buy, they knew they were less than 1% likely to ever buy in the next 5 years. So you can completely streamline your process and avoid, if you're collecting objection data. Retention data, likelihood to renew, profile data, and actionable profile data. So when your reps are typing things into a CRM system and capturing all these great notes, unless you're going to start doing advanced text data mining, you need to put some structure behind that. So having an opportunity to collect favorite player and opponent and how they use their tickets and key dates, those are all data points you can use in the future. And of course, sponsorship data, which we'll touch a little bit at the end, time permitting. So if you're going to rely on CRM for data collection, you have to make sure you're rewarding adoption of the system. Garbage in, garbage out. So how do we do this? Here's an example of a hustle board. What you want to do is try to reward people. Everything is about, if you read Freakonomics or anything, it's all about alignment of incentives. So we have teams that provide incentives such as making sure that you'll get more of our inbound web leads if you're at the top of our hustle boards. Creating things that aren't, you don't necessarily even have to give a financial incentive, but ultimately a better lead turns into a financial incentive. So use the data productivity metrics, this is a way to make it feel less like Big Brother and more about we're rewarding you for collecting the things that matter to us. And one point here, when you do these types of hustle boards, some people are always going to game the system a little bit. So my last point here is you need to still have accountability that's more than a number. So spot check data quality, go in, see how people are using the system, because you need not just a number on a hustle board, you also need quality data that's actually behind that number. So I mentioned dates. We can collect key important dates in a customer's relationship with you. Birthdays and anniversaries, 2 dates, very important. Maybe their anniversary when they first bought tickets, like a team anniversary. But if we have that data in the system, what can we start doing with it? The traditional thing a team would do with a database marketing platform is send an automated email campaign, wish them a happy birthday. That's awesome. It's a great touch point. Another organization wanted to take it further. They really wanted to reinforce that one-to-one relationship between the customer and the staff that represents the brand of the organization. So they use CRM with the data that they've collected on those birthdays, either by staff members or even by surveys. They have it all funneling into the same place. And what you see here, it's not the best screenshot, but this is a workflow screen that's going to automatically check for matching birthdays 10 days before that birthday and assign a call to the account manager for that customer. So yeah, they're still going to get their automated birthday email, but they're also going to get a phone call directly from the organization to reinforce that relationship. How about renewals? We've talked about, there's a lot of work that goes on in building retention models and other models to forecast renewals. Matt Wolf of the MBA, if he is going to do a presentation that includes some really good insights on this, so I encourage you to go check that out. But sometimes the models aren't always as simple. Maybe you don't have the time or resources to go into those models. So in this situation, regression analysis actually wasn't coming up with a good enough model, and they would just need something else, something different that we can use to help predict our retention scores. And so, again, CRM is a data collection opportunity. Let's have our staff, who's on the phone every day, listening to all of the objections, they know the voice of the fan. Let's just ask our staff to say, how likely do you think this person is to renew? They didn't actually ask the customer, how likely are you to renew, because you're going to get a manipulated answer. Just using the staff's training and instinct from hearing all these conversations, have the staff member give a score. And so what we're able to do, with one data point, we look at the previous year. We collected these renewal intent scores on a 1 to 5 star rating, and after renewals are over, we can say 1s renewed only 29% of the time, where if you go all the way up to 5s, renewed 97% of the time. We're converting our 1 to 5 into a percentage. As soon as our renewal campaign starts in the next season, let's actually figure out, we can look at the ratio of 1 to 5s. So in this little model here, we've only collected renewal intent from 400 people so far. But we know the relative distribution of 1 to 5s, and we know how big our season ticket holder audience is. In this case, my example here is 10,000 season ticket holders. So if we use that ratio to project out across those 10,000, we can actually see how many we think we're going to renew. So right now at this pace, I'll renew 8,000 of my 10,000. So our renewal rate right now is forecasting lower than it was last year. Our final rate was 85% last year. This year we're forecasting 80%. Now, if you're a statistics person, you're probably looking at this and screaming in the back of your head, not statistically significant. It's okay. This was a simple model. It was quick, it was efficient, and it was accurate within 2 percentage points. Now, yes, maybe you could get better than that, but when you need an answer quick, it's a way to think outside the box about how we can forecast our renewal using CRM as a data provider. Campaign performance is another really important thing about CRM because you're managing your pipeline, not just looking at historical sales. So first off, CRM is going to help you distribute your leads properly, right? Let's actually analyze all the data. I've got an example audience here. Our single game buyers, excluding our most recent campaign. We can use things like turnkey prospector data and Ticketmaster Live Analytics data. We can make that data actionable by using it in your CRM to segment your audiences better. And then take those lists, distribute them out to your staff. Don't make your staff have to go into the system and find and qualify leads themselves. That's not their strong suit. Your analyst's strong suit is analyzing the data and doing the distribution on their behalf. But it doesn't stop there. Once you've actually created the campaigns, and you need to start monitoring them actively. Don't just wait till the end and see what happened. This is an example of a campaign dashboard where we're looking at the percentage called, so we can see how far we're going through, the conversion rate across all multiple campaigns, and then based on the people that haven't been called yet, we can forecast the uncalled value of continuing with that campaign. So you can make decisions as you're running multiple campaigns to decide, should we keep going down this road, or should we pause and reallocate resources to other audiences? We can also take this one step further. I'm going to circle back to Chris Ebenfeld's presentation one more time, because he also talked about matching people to the quality leads, the people that they're going to have most success with. So take this campaign performance concept one step further and drill down and actually see every individual's performance and how that forecasts out in terms of if that person continues with that campaign. So in this particular example, I've got the same one audience that, based on my staff, has anywhere from 2% to 18% conversion success so far. That's pretty significant. And if we observe this over the course of multiple campaigns, we're going to have an opportunity to match audiences to the right staff way more accurately than just saying everyone gets the same leads all the time. It doesn't always make sense. Cool. Another data collection point that I want to cover on is touch points. So we've been more sales-oriented, but touch points is going to be much more retention and service-oriented. So touch points, I'm sure everyone's familiar with the concept, high-value interactions. Not every activity you log in a CRM system is actually considered a touch point. Touch points have a little more oomph to them, if you think of it that way, right? So CRM can drive your retention and touch point strategy by giving you more accurate data on the value of those points rather than just knowing whether they happened or not. So my example strategy, things that we recommend, year one, this is new to you, start with a simple touch point strategy, assign some basic point values to those types of interactions. My example here is a 1 to 5 point scale. And you can do this pretty intuitively, based on like a note is worth 1 point, but all the way getting invited to a meet and greet with the player is 5 points. You've had a pretty good feel of what those different point scores are going to be worth. Give everyone a simple touch point goal. Don't try to pre-predict which audiences are going to need different touch points. We can actually have some pretty fun discussions on, should I reward my club seat holders? Or, you know what, they're more likely to renew, so they need less. Or my rookies should get more attention because they're less likely to renew, but if you pay too much attention to your rookies, you're going to tick off your senior customers. Start simple, start consistent, and then measure afterwards. Have a strategy, justify it with some data and some analysis. And there's all different ways you can slice and dice this data that's coming out of the CRM system. You can correlate total points to renewals. That's pretty basic. Different types of touch points. You know, let's refine our point scoring system. We thought it was 1 to 5. You know what? Nothing's worth 5 points. Nothing has that much of a significant impact. So let's clip 5 points. You know, let's see how our staff is particularly underusing or overusing different touch points and help train them on what things they should be using differently. And let's actually, rather than having a consistent touch point goal for all of our customers, now let's get a little smarter. Let's come up with different point goals that match the analysis, the regression, the correlations that we've run based on the previous year's data. The last point here, I'm going to touch on sponsorships briefly. We've been very consumer-centric so far, and I think consumer data has the biggest high volume of use in these situations, but we can't overlook the corporate side. Same idea here is CRM, if you collect and store the proper information in your CRM system, you're going to drive smarter sponsorships. So typically, a lot of places still have revenue-centric focuses where it's all about just the dollars, but you need to think beyond just the dollars. You need to think about margins. You need to think about certain inventory items being overutilized or underutilized, discounting, managing the discounting so that way you're not breaking the rate card integrity. I know there's a little less selling just by traditional rate card, but it still matters. You can't analyze your rates if you don't have a starting point or a frame of reference. So use CRM to manage your inventory better, to get your rate information in the system. Most teams aren't going to be running an ERP system, so CRM can be your ERP system. So here's an example real quick. Every inventory asset in the system has rates, costs, quantities. You can identify in real time as you're building a deal, is this a strategic fit for the deal? Are we over-discounting? Does this fit align with our strategy and how we want to build a partnership? And then you reinforce that with something like an approval workflow process, which all CRM platforms have different levels of doing approval workflows. So make sure if some discounting if you're discounting more than 20%, make sure everyone in the organization, the key people, are okay with that particular strategy. So use the approval workflow to reinforce the data and reinforce the rules in your business processes. And then you can also get real smart. Here's our rate card integrity dashboard. And what you'll see is actually this is Tableau inside CRM, which I'm going to talk a little bit more here in 1 second. This is going to show you things like people selling above or below rate card and the relative size or value of that particular asset. So if you see big dots that are all the way to the left, that's bad. And if you see big dots to the right, you're excited. Maybe you're okay seeing small items discounted depending on the particular size of the overall deal. So you can get these metrics out of your system in real time. And like I said, the last point here, you have all of these other cool, sexy tools. I'm not opposed to them. I love Tableau. I love business intelligence systems. I love data warehouses. These are really cool things. But the last thing you want to do is also now introduce another system where, here, you're going to live in CRM for this, but you're going to live in your ticketing system for this. And by the way, if you want to report on how you're doing, go log into the BI system. All you're doing is fragmenting your processes. So our belief is you bring BI to the system where that person lives already. So we partner with Tableau, but like I said, this Click is here as a sponsor. Great tools. There's plenty of other Halo BI I think I saw. Pick the tool that's right for you and figure out how you can deliver it where your staff already lives. So you can do some really cool stuff. I'm in a Salesforce system here with a Tableau-generated dashboard showing me game-by-game revenue, groups, single-game sales. You can use all the cool interactive tools that BI platforms are going to give you, and then you can go right back to doing what you're normally doing. You can call your next person. BI is something that is, I think, getting spread throughout an organization much more vertically. I love the idea of empowering people at all levels of the organization to be comfortable with data. Do a little bit of data exploration. You don't know where that next important insight is going to come from. It can come from a seller the same way it can come from someone else. So don't be afraid of giving them tools that let them see your data. I know some people can get really conservative in this space, but I'm a firm believer in sharing that type of insight. Same idea here. Last year, I think the Rangers did a presentation, and everyone loves things like the stadiums, the heat maps, and the stadium maps. And this is really, really, they said, very cool stuff. So why does it have to go live in another system? Same idea here. Now you click on a seat. Maybe you can look at that seat. Like, let's color code this by seller. And I can choose me, and I can see every location in the building that I've sold for the next game. And if I see someone in the last row that I sold, let me click on that and actually open up that customer's record inside CRM and try to upsell them. So I'm using the power of the BI tool and the visualization to help me drive a behavior in CRM and drive revenue. I got a bunch of other examples here. I'm actually going to skip this slide. If you want to talk more about this, there's so many. My point is CRM is really only limited by your imagination. Don't underestimate how important it is. Don't get suckered in by caring about every other fancy tool, and don't remember how important CRM is. Data warehouses put data at the center. CRM systems put the customer at the center. It can be a data generating tool. You can deliver the insights back through CRM and give those insights where your staff lives and breathes every day. So I've got a couple minutes left here. Sorry. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to take them. All right, right here.
For your software, you collect any geographic data?
Oh, no, we definitely collect, geographic data. So the nice thing about geographic data, normally you've got a transactional system that's the source of the record, and almost every transactional system requires, especially if you're buying things online, some type of address information. So you can either input the geographic information in CRM if they're a prospect. It's going to come over from your ticketing system for your buyer data. So the same exact tool. In fact, we have a different, I can only pick so many slides. We've got another tool that shows different zip codes, that shows the comparison of my season ticket holders in this zip code versus my single game buyers in another zip code. And if I can grow and grab the particular zip codes that have the biggest match to my other audience, use that as a criteria. So geographic data is absolutely important. Any other questions? Everyone really wants to go and grab a drink soon. Yeah, I tell you, I know. That's okay. All right. Well, thank you for spending a half hour with me.